Now, I'm normally somebody that does not cover AEW. I mainly cover the WWE. But after I had to read over all this news about the backstage incidents that's been happening at All Elite Wrestling, especially after the All Out pay per view that happened this past Sunday, I'm disgusted as a wrestling fan. I'm just absolutely ashamed of what's been going on with that promotion. I have been a fan of AEW since they first started their promotion back in the middle of 2019 when they had guys like Jon Moxley debuting there, when they had Brody Lee when they brought him in with the Dark Order, when they had guys like Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy and Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy and Maxwell Jacob Friedman, aka MJF, Wardlow, all these guys, the Acclaimed, all these new wrestlers and talents that have been debuting on that roster, showing what they can do and actually becoming better household names. And then you have about the influx of talent that's been coming in that were recently part of WWE, have now signed to AEW with the likes of Keith Lee, FTR, Tony Storm, Swerve Strickland, Alice Malachi Black, Pac, Buddy Matthews, Athena, just to name a few. But what's happened this past Sunday with that media scrum, and with the fact that CM Punk went out there and he decided to pretty much have business for himself and decided to pretty much bury the entire locker room in front of his owner, in front of the guy that pays his bills, in front of the guy that pretty much is the reason why he's there and is paying him handsomely and putting him on television. For CM Punk to go out there for the past couple of weeks and say what he said is disgusting. Now, maybe some of the things he says has true merit, but you're working for a company, and that's a bad image that you're putting out there for your company, and it's making your boss look bad. And I'll get to him in a second because he's not out of the blame either. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, you guys are EVPs of this entire company. Why don't you go out there and actually start acting like EVPs and stop potentially leaking information about CM Punk? Stop trying to kick down doors. Stop trying to always book yourselves to win belts all the time. Allow somebody else to be put over. I understand why you would book the belts to be put on you to establish them and have some name. But at the same time, the type of behavior you guys have been showing has been inexcusable. The Young Bucks especially, and Kenny Omega. Ace Steel, you're supposed to be setting an example for some of these younger wrestlers out there as a coach, as somebody that's been in the business for a long time, and you go out there and display the behavior that you showed by throwing a chair at another wrestler? That's disgusting. And you should lose your job like that for doing what you did. And now to Tony Khan. I've appreciated what Tony Khan has done for this company. I really have. I love what he's done, giving us another alternative for wrestling, another place for wrestling fans to be able to go out there and enjoy the type of professional wrestling we like. Have some storylines that we can connect to. Have some characters out there that we can enjoy. Have some wrestling we can go out there and watch and sit for 2 hours on a Wednesday night or a Friday night and go out there and love. But Tony Khan right now recently, he's lost his way. He's too busy going out there shooting promos and shooting angles and stuff against the WWE, saying, I hate the WWE for this. I hate what they're doing with the WWE for that. Pretty much signing wrestler after wrestler after wrestler after wrestler after wrestler the past year and a half instead of trying to utilize the talent he has on that roster right now. And then the fact he's allowed these wrestlers right now to run amok on his roster, go out there and pretty much run the establishment and not have Tony Khan go out there and actually act like a boss. Tony Khan has pretty much allowed his wrestlers to control his company that he's helped build. He put the money in, and he's the one that's the reason why a lot of these people, these talents, are even in this company. Tony Khan, unfortunately, shoulders a lot of the blame because he did not put his foot down when he had the chance to squash this beef that was going on between CM Punk and involving the Elite, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And now look what's happened. You had a backstage brawl at arguably one of your biggest events, and now all everybody wants to talk about is the backstage brawl that happened between CM Punk, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks and Ace Steel, and the fact that they had people like Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Chris Jericho, and these other guys have to run back there and pretty much try to stop the melee that was happening backstage. And Tony Khan did not even know about this that was happening. He was too busy having media scrums right now with Swerve and Keith Lee and Tony Storm and others. It's absolutely a joke what's happening with this company. And all of this could be an elaborate work. Maybe Tony Khan, CM Punk, the Bucks, Kenny Omega, they're working us right now. And this is all part of some type of angle that the AEW has been putting out there. And you know what? Kudos to them if they pretty much worked all of us. But at the same time, it's not a good look when you have these types of incidents and backstage issues that are going on with AEW. And it's not just Punk with the Elite. Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara recently just got into a scrum backstage where Sammy Guevara got pie-faced in the face by Eddie Kingston, and Kingston ended up getting suspended for 2 weeks. There's backstage heat going on with Thunder Rosa, with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Tony Khan is too busy acting like a fan right now, acting like somebody that's just enjoying what he's seeing on television and getting pretty much caught up in the nostalgia with his wrestlers and his company, and he's not putting his foot down and acting like a boss. And if he doesn't stop this and put his foot down, AEW is going to fold quicker than WCW even did. And WCW was the alternative that this wrestling community needed when WWF was starting to succeed during the Attitude Era. And that's exactly what AEW has been right now. An alternative for the WWE. And unfortunately right now, it's looking like an absolute colossal disaster right now. And we're all waiting right now what's going to be happening with the results of this backstage brawl that happened. And if there's going to be any suspensions handed down. It looks like there are. Whereas reports have been coming out all over the place that suspensions are now going to be thrown down for the incident that happened between the Elite and CM Punk as well as Ace Steel. Lots of suspensions are going to be put down. And there's even rumors going out that CM Punk might be fired now from the company after he just joined the company last year, and he was talking about how he's excited to work with some of these talents that were part of the AEW young roster going forward just a year ago. And now all of a sudden CM Punk is saying that he just is tired of being around a bunch of young children in this company. I like AEW. I know I'm more of a WWE fan, and I stuck with WWE even when they were dealing with their garbage creator for so long. And Triple H, luckily, is starting to finally bring back the love that I had and many others have had for WWE. But it's just a damn shame because I like AEW too. I like having multiple different wrestling companies that you could see on television bring different styles of wrestling. That is one reason why I grew up loving this sport, loving this entertainment. And it's just a damn shame that right now Tony Khan is afraid to put his foot down because he's too busy playing favorites with some of the wrestlers in this company. He's afraid of some of these people walking out of your company because of you wanting to put your foot down. If you want to be like WCW, Tony Khan, let the wrestlers run amok in your company. Let them go out there and pretty much do what they want to do, say what they want to say, brawl in the backstage area if they want to brawl in the backstage area. And you just sit there with a dumbfounded face being like, what do I do now? I really hope that this is not going to be something that's going to end up being the detriment and the end of All Elite Wrestling. But right now, Tony Khan, it's on you. It's time for you to go out there and be a boss and just stop this chaos that's going on backstage in your wrestling company. That's it. And if you can't do that, you might as well just fold up shop or sell your ownership of AEW to somebody else that is willing to come in there and pretty much find a way to fix this company going forward. Because right now, AEW is a friggin' mess. It is a mess right now backstage. The creative has not been the same in the past 5 to 6 months. The environment backstage is nowhere near what many were saying just over half a year ago. You have wrestlers that are now frustrated with their creative direction on that company. You have the boss that is just not acting like a boss right now. You have wrestlers pie-facing, fighting with each other backstage, having incidents all over the place. And this is all just the past few weeks. As a wrestling fan, I hate seeing this. And I hate seeing this. Because I want to see AEW succeed. I want to see AEW be a great alternative, because when you have multiple companies that are succeeding, it's best for the wrestling business. And it's no coincidence that WWE was not the same after WCW and ECW, which were two prime wrestling promotions back in the 90s and early 2000s. They folded, and it's no coincidence WWE was not the same. If wrestling is going to thrive like we hope it can to the best of its abilities, you need AEW to get their act together, go out there, and become that alternative, successful company that we need. Because when WWE and AEW are both good, the wrestling as a whole is great. And it was shown at the wrestling events this past weekend, as both Clash at the Castle and All Out were terrific pay-per-views. But unfortunately, All Out, the pay-per-view, was overshadowed by the nonsensical backstage incidents that happened with CM Punk and TheElite and Ace Steel. Tony Khan, this is your chance to actually be a boss right now and try to save your company from potentially going down the WCW path. Go out there, be a boss. If you have to suspend people, do it. If you have to even fire people, do it. There's no excuses right now, Tony Khan. Go out there, be a boss, and stop the mayhem that's happening backstage in your company. That's all I have to say about this. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see what happens on AEW Dynamite tonight. And hopefully Tony Khan is going to step up, stop being a fan, and be a boss of his promotion.